Today we're going to be continuing our discussion about cells. Yesterday I had you go over slides 1 through 16 and then we went over our cells together. And now today you should have already gone through slides 17 through 29 and we're going to cover that material. So let's start. Yesterday we left off at cell structures. We talked about membranes, the outer covering of cells, cytoplasm, the jelly-like stuff that keeps cells all together, and then cell walls, the rigid supporting structures that form on the outside of cell membranes, but only in plant and prokaryotic cells. Now let's move on to organelles. And organelles are internal structures of a cell that are responsible for all of the cell's function. So there are many organelles, but we're going to pinpoint a few of them, a handful. We're going to talk about the nucleus, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, and the mitochondria. Think of organelles like organs, right? Organelles, very tiny organs. They kind of have like the same purpose of organelles, just on a smaller scale in the cell. First, we'll address the nucleus. We talked about this briefly yesterday, but the nucleus, think about it as the information center of the cell, almost like a hard drive, we said. It's a large circular structure in the center of the cell that contains genetic material in the form of DNA. And what does DNA carry, or what is DNA all about? Well, it contains the instructions necessary for life. It contains all the instructions to live. And it's important, these instructions are important for making proteins and other molecules that will be found in your body. Here we have a picture of a cell, and we can see this large circular structure in the center. That's the nucleus. And then we have a zoomed in cartoon of the nucleus, and we'd actually see that there are different parts of the nucleus itself, but we'll go into that at a later date. Let's stop and answer this question. Question 5. What does the nucleus contain? A. DNA, B. Water, C. Proteins, or D. Organelles. So the nucleus contains DNA. That's our genetic information, our instructions for life that can be passed down from generation to generation, so from parent to child. And water, that's not really the function of the nucleus. And proteins, the DNA will eventually produce proteins, but that's not what's contained in the nucleus. And then organelles, though the nucleus is an organelle itself. So our only answer could be A, DNA. Let's talk about ribosomes. Think about protein synthesis when you think of ribosomes. That means that they make proteins. And ribosomes are found in a few different places. They can be found free-floating throughout the cell in the cytoplasm, or they can be associated with the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which we're going to talk about next. But just remember, ribosomes are the cell's protein factories. Question 6. What do ribosomes make? A. DNA, B. Water, C. Protein, or D. Acid. And the correct answer is C. Protein. And I forgot to remind you in the beginning of the video, but make sure when you're viewing my PowerPoints, you always click Show Speaker's Notes, because as you see, I have notes that go along with the slides that I want you to be able to see. Now moving on to the endoplasmic reticulum, we found out that ribosomes can be associated with the endoplasmic reticulum, and In fact, it can be embedded. That means there can be ribosomes right in the endoplasmic reticulum. So this is really convenient because the endoplasmic reticulum, which is right outside the nucleus, with these ribosomes embedded, can make proteins, and the endoplasmic reticulum can help transport these proteins to their final destination, where they need to go, either inside or outside of the cell. They're a step along the pathway. And oftentimes, after the proteins are made, they're transported by the endoplasmic reticulum, the rough endoplasmic reticulum that has the ribosomes. They're transported to the Golgi apparatus. Now, the Golgi apparatus modifies, concentrates, and packages proteins made at the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So it's really like a processing center. And here's a little bit more intricate of a picture, but you don't need to remember all these steps. Now, let's move on to what are chloroplasts? You may have heard of these before. So chloroplasts, think of them as the powerhouse of photosynthesis. We know that plants make their own food. So what chloroplasts do is they capture energy from sunlight and use several other substances to convert that energy into food in a process called photosynthesis. Now, it's important to remember or know that chloroplasts are only found in plant cells. They're not found in animal cells. And we know that they're green. Most plants have a green color to them. And this is caused by a chlorophyll, a pigment, a coloring that helps absorb sunlight that is in plants, and it gives it their green color. So now we know that plants can make their own food. Compared to, let's say, people, humans, we need to either eat other animals or eat plants. And this is where mitochondria comes into place. And mitochondria are actually found in all eukaryotes, even plants, so plants and animals. And what they do is they convert food into energy for your nutrition. This process is known as cellular respiration. Think of mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell. And like I said, they convert food into energy for nutrition. So in plants, they take the food that has been created by photosynthesis and then break it down for energy. But in animals that can't make their own food, the food is taken in from an outside source, another animal, or eating a plant. And that food is converted to energy through cellular respiration. Let's stop on question 7. The process by which mitochondria make energy from food is known as A. Protein synthesis, B. Cellular respiration, C. Acid formation, or D. Breaking down proteins. So the process by which mitochondria make energy from food is known as cellular respiration. And we'll go more into detail about this later in the class. And here's just a cartoon I thought you might find funny. So the chloroplasts, he's been given eyes, so I use light energy to make glucose. That's the food, glucose in this case. And the mitochondria break that down to make ATP. And ATP is just a sort of energy. So the chloroplast makes the food, and the mitochondria breaks it down. Used for photosynthesis, used for cellular respiration. And I'm going to end here with diagrams of the plant cell and the animal cell. various important structures are shown. The nucleus with the DNA inside, mitochondrion or mitochondria, for talking about more than one of them, the cell membrane, cytoplasm, ribosome, endoplasmic reticulum, the rough endoplasmic reticulum with the embedded ribosomes, Golgi apparatus. Those are important structures. And then the same with a plant cell. You have the mitochondrion, the chloroplast, which is different in this case, the nucleus, the Golgi apparatus, the different kinds of endoplasmic reticulum. And both of these diagrams are going to be helpful with a project that I'm going to assign at the end of the week. But don't worry, it'll be a fun project. And that's all for today. I will see you during the next lecture.